remove South Korea's sitting president, Yoon Suk Yeol. So he is immediately removed from power. And what we have now, John, we're about half a kilometer away from South Korea's constitutional court. They took about 23 minutes to read this verdict, and we have literally people dancing in the street. This is where people have camped out for hours overnight, people who are against Yoon Suk Yeol and wanted him removed immediately. So what we are hearing, people all around us, Sean, are now saying democracy has won this fight. This is a great day for South Korea once again. The context that we find ourselves, this is the second president in South Korea's history to be removed through impeachment. So in terms of what happens now, the prime minister now keeps going in terms of having presidential powers. He had the presidential powers as Yoon Suk Yeol was going through this impeachment trial. So he will stay on as acting president until, give or take, John, 60 days from now. That brings us to around June 3rd, when South Korea will elect a new president, one who has to somehow deal with these steep tariffs and this crisis that South Korea finds itself in now, how to confront the Trump administration, which has levied these huge tariffs against South Korea's export industry. There needs to be somebody who can help rally the country against this fight. And right now, there's nobody who really occupies that position. So the campaign for president really begins in the middle of May. I believe it's May 16th. And right now, if the election for president were held today, it's believed that the liberal candidate, Lee Jae-myung, would win. He lost several years ago in the last presidential election to Yoon Suk Yeol by a razor-thin margin, and he's very much positioned himself to be the country's next leader, readying himself through this crisis to put himself on the world stage. But for now, what we are seeing, the country, John, held its breath for 4 months, ever since December 3rd, wondering what was going to happen, if the justices would perhaps throw out this impeachment on technicalities and reinstate the president, or if they would say he exceeded and went past the guardrails of the Constitution by declaring martial law, and the views of everybody here really contriving a national emergency. Needless to say, supporters of Yoon Suk Yeol, they are about a 20-minute drive away from we are. They're gathered in front of his home, and they are crestfallen. They think that this is very much the judicial process stealing the president away from his position of power. So we're going to be waiting to see if there's any address that Yoon Suk Yeol makes to the nation. He's expected to leave his home probably within the next day or two, transitioning out of the presidential residence. That's what happened last time when impeached President Park Geun-hye had to leave her residence. So in the meantime, you can tell, John, euphoria, joy. People you see in pink and yellow vests, those are different labor union vests, very much emblematic of liberal politics here in South Korea. And that's where we stand. This chapter ending, people here believing it, a challenge to democracy that they have won, and now onto the campaign. Who will lead South Korea, this crucial democracy and this crucial economy here in this corner of the world, John?
Mike, thank you. Mike Valerio there in Seoul. Just to recap, the South Korean president, the impeached president, has been ordered to be removed from office immediately. We'll have a lot more on the story in the next coming hours. In the meantime, back to Abby Phillip and Newstime.